good evening, everybody. You are stuck with me today, Dan, as George is on some VIP trip back from Spain after he's been 5-star luxury. So George is on his way back, so you're stuck with me tonight. But thankfully, I am joined by Mel. How you doing, Mel?
Not bad, you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. And I'm also joined by Sky Sports' very own Andrew as well.
Good
How
evening,
are you?
both. Yeah, weekend's here. Bristol
So,
City
yeah.
at home.
That is good. Weekend is here. We was just talking off air saying that you are stuck with the Viv Steiner and Alessia Russo. We just couldn't decide who was who for the front three. So yeah, if that front three do start on Sunday, you know Jonas is definitely watching the show. Just to start, I'm going to start with Andrew. It's been I'd just say it's been a quiet Arsenal week because there's obviously been things going on, but. Did you catch any of the international matches? What were your thoughts as an Arsenal fan of the international matches? And start with a tricky question.
Yeah. I mean, the answer's dead easy. Didn't watch a single minute of any of it. I mean, I catch it up on social media, just basically checking the injury reports, making sure, seeing who's got can't read my stuff, seeing what minutes everybody's done. So you're kind of hoping that everyone gets a good sort of gets a good run out, but it doesn't play 90 minutes or gets injured. So that's kind of I'm pleased for the players that they get to kind of get the recognition, but I'm just not an international fan. Apart from when England get to the quarterfinals, then I'm England till I die. Then they get knocked out, and then I'm an Arsenal fan again. So.
What about you, Mel? Did you catch any of the matches? Have you been following?
I caught a wee bit of some of the Scotland games, sort of not much to report on Arsenal-wise, considering they both retired from international football. But yeah, I've seen bits and pieces like Andrew on social media, sort of Stina missing a goal that she absolutely should not have missed, considering some of the ones that you've seen her score. But yeah, good to see sort of usual suspects getting a good amount of minutes. Like Leah got a good amount of minutes as well when she started. So, yeah, it's looking hopeful. I don't think there's been any note of injuries. I know that Leah Cadena came home early, but no news on her from Jonas's press conference today. So I'm taking no news as good news until proven otherwise.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. For myself, I mean, I watched the Sweden game obviously because of there's quite a big Arsenal connection. I thought Lotta played really well in that game, and I thought she was probably a little bit, and I can understand Leah coming back. She was probably a little bit unlucky to be dropped for the Ireland game, but it was good to see Leah and Katie leading out the two teams, which was really good. And when you're obviously trying to wrap Leah up with make sure she gets through okay, and then she sort of does her interview at the end saying about her feeling 10 times bigger every time she pulls on the England shirt. I mean, she's just like the absolute perfect PR person for the England national team because she knows exactly what to say. But she did have a good game. She did look pretty good, and I suppose she did need the 90 minutes for Arsenal wise. I was sort of having a look on the Arsenal website just for any other international news, and the only other thing I could sort of pick up was that is it the She Believes Cup that the USA won that. Obviously with Emily playing, so that was congratulations for her. I think who else did anybody else play did they beat Canada? I think, didn't they?
Yeah, they beat Canada in the final. I think Foxy actually scored the winning penalty, which I've seen the penalty. It's not a good penalty, I'll be honest, but it went in. They won. She's buzzing. That's all that really matters.
That's good. Yeah, she comes back. She comes back happy. I think Chloe played 45 minutes. I think I did sort of read that, but she played for a little bit. So, yeah, hopefully everyone's been away. They feel a little bit relaxed. I think they sort of saw a couple of the videos of the girls in Australia for their matches. They sort of seem to be enjoying it and having a bit of fun out there. But yeah, just sort of with the internationals, it is like, so I'll ask you guys again, it's sort of, how do you feel cheering on opposition players for their national teams? Because I mean, for me personally, I have to turn the commentary off because they just constantly talk about Lauren James, that she's the best player in the world ever. everything she does is absolutely fantastic. That you get a bit bored with it, and then she goes and scores, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to score. What are your thoughts about sort of cheering on rival players for the national test? But it's worse for you, Mel, because there's no Arsenal players at all. So
Yeah, I think the only time that Erin Cuthbert will ever get any praise from me is when she wears that Scottish deep navy blue rather than that evil Chelsea royal blue. But it's just part of it, and like, don't get me wrong, I love Erin Cuthbert as a player, but as soon as she pulls on that Chelsea top, she's dead to me. Yeah, no, I'm very much, if they're in a Scotland top, they get my full support no matter what club they're at. And unfortunately, when it comes to club players who have my support 99% of the time, as soon as they pull on their international top, depending on if they're playing Scotland or not, I don't care for them. And being Scottish through and through, I am very much of the camp of anyone but England. So the poor English girls get it from me quite a lot. I think me and my friends went to the Euros when it was in England the last time, and we were very easy to pick out in Wembley and amongst all the England fans and our Germany tops. So yeah.
Yeah, it is a weird one. It is a weird one for me. I've obviously I used to follow the men's to a greater degree as well, and it is weird when all of a sudden that guy, those people that you were spitting on last week, are now your favourites, and you know, someone like Stina and Amanda and Lena, you know, 1 week they're your heroes, and the next week you hate them, and it is weird. It's a bit of cognitive dissonance there as we try and figure out how, you know, they get through the emotions. But generally, yeah, I mean, generally, if I do watch, I suppose the ultimate one is if it was an England 11 that didn't have any Arsenal players and they were playing Sweden and there were three, I would kind of be like, hope that, you know, Stina scores from a, you know, or, you know, the three Swedes combined for a worldie. But I guess only, like I say, I was only half joking, but as soon as he gets to the quarterfinals of a major tournament, I get a little bit more invested, and sort of the nationalism kind of kicks in. Yeah, I actually, on top of that one, just for Mel, how do you feel about? I know we're not going to see it this year, but the Great Britain squad when it's the Olympics.
If I ever needed an option to cheat against England more in my life, was when they needed to beat us to qualify. When I got the notification that the Netherlands had scored in the dying seconds, you would have thought Scotland had won 5 or 6-0, whatever the score was. It's not for me. Obviously, Kim's been out and played for them. Caroline Weir's been out and played for them. I think both times it has been noted. Neither of them sang the national anthem, which didn't go down very well with most people, but they came home Scottish heroes for everybody up here for that one. So yeah, it's just, I think it's a very English heavy squad. No matter how much they try and paint it as Great Britain, I think you're talking 1 or 2 Scots. Where I think if we qualified this year, you would have had Erin Cuthbert, obvious Scottish pick. If Caroline Weir hadn't done her ACL, she probably would have snuck in there as well. And you get like your token Northern Irish and your token Welsh, and 99% of the squad's English, so it's just, it's not for me.
Yeah, well, with Serena, who was going to manage the GB team, I think, as well, wasn't it? So you can, I mean, at least we haven't got to sit through Lauren James being the greatest ever Olympian as well this summer. That's one thing for England not qualifying. Do you feel? I mean, I've always liked from the men's side. I mean, obviously sort of showing my age a bit. I remember sort of Euro '96 and Euro '98, and he was really proud for having a lot of Arsenal players involved. Then, do you think maybe like a question obviously for both of you? Do you think it's something that maybe the tribal thing has got a bit more now into the women's game with like club 100% coming first and country? You want them to do well, but you want them to do well when there's your players in there, and I mean, I'd say like it was great to see Leah. If she'd have played 20 minutes and she'd have been taken off, but I want all the Man City and Chelsea players to play 90, 95 minutes extra time, penalties, then train fully afterwards. As much, but that's my slight fear with Emily Fox with Emma Hayes being the merit that she's going to play her constantly, so she comes back absolutely drained for Arsenal.
Yeah. It's I mean, I'm pleased for. I think I echo what you say. I think that Leah is kind of the off-field captain. Her kind of her TV persona is just bang spot on. She seems to have a real kind of gift for the interviews about saying the right thing, and I'm pleased for them. But yeah, I'm just pretty much disinterested. But yeah, I think the tribalism and and I suppose we're always mindful it doesn't spill over to like what was going on in the 80s and 90s in the men's game. But like the tribalism now is good. I think it's good. I mean, and still looking at some of those videos that Fran, the Arsenal coach or physiotherapist, took when singing North London Forever when we took over that cat cop, absolutely gives me the chills. And that was it's fantastic. And it's just it's better, isn't it? It's definitely better. And I think Tim Stillman kind of said that when we packed the stadium Emirates out a couple of times and it was full of spectators, but then now it's full of fans, and and you do feel like you're playing the part. And I thought, I think you're having an influence. The smallest piece, and maybe we're kind of over egging our part here, but I think as fans we feel like we've got a role to play, in sort of helping the players sort of get out of a rut, or to say we're behind them. I thought there was a really nice bit. I think just shortly after kind of Frida had gone down and we were flat. That the North Bank, as I'll refer to as, were flat. But then I think it was a goal kick, and Katie was just coming over to get the ball, and she kind of gestured to the crowd to go. It was like, I think from me it was like, oh, okay, it's okay to kind of put Frida's situation to that side, and get back behind. And I think there's some really good interaction. So yeah, tribalism's there's a good level of it now, and I suppose in a way you kind of want the other teams to kind of catch up a little bit. I'm really super proud of that. We are the best supported, the noisiest fans, but equally you kind of it's good to have a little bit of back and forth.
I think it'd be great for like say again, personal thing. I mean, if Tottenham fans jumped on it ball a bit more, could you imagine a North London derby? Would just be it would just add that bit of extra. I mean, Chelsea obviously they want a sort of kids disco and party entertainers, that sort of thing, but that's been Chelsea for the last 30 years anyway, for whatever they've tried to do. But yeah, even say the Manchester United, I think sort of Manchester United, the fans are coming on a bit more. I know probably one other club you would say they're trying to grow it. I suppose again there's potential with like Liverpool could be really good for doing that. But no, it's good. It's a bit of a starting point for talking about the internationals and the tribalism. But I'm just going to move on a little bit now. Be just something that's happened maybe in sort of the afternoon that I feel quite privileged to live in the sort of time period. Unfortunately, I missed sort of John Keats and obviously Robert Burns. William Blake, these great poets, but thankfully we do live in the era of Emma Hayes, who's this hidden talent that she's now come out with as this amazing poet. And what thoughts on that, Mel?
That's just Emma Hayes, isn't it? She always finds a way to do something that leaves me at a loss for words, and never in a good way. She never leaves me impressed and speechless. She always leaves me speechless through sheer stupidity and just lack of words to sum her up as a person. I think it's like we were saying earlier before we came on. I think it was very much a very roundabout way of being like, oh, I'm sorry for what I did, but I'm not openly going to apologize to anybody who was involved. She strikes me as the kind of person who never holds her hands up to admit that she's wrong. It's very much she's right, she'll always be right, and you will never prove her otherwise. So yeah, I got like halfway through that interview because I saw it circling on Twitter and I was like, I've heard enough. As soon as I heard the quote from her son, I was like, this is more than enough for me. I'm turning this off now. But yeah, it's just Emma Hayes. Don't get me wrong, I might miss her a wee bit when she leaves, because she is a character, and her and Jonas's back and forth is sort of like we were saying earlier about the tribalism, and sort of pushing the rivalry a bit more, and seeing them interacting on the touchline definitely gets me going. When she pushed him, I was like, wow, hold on. But yeah, she's just, I want to spend a day in her brain just to see what goes on up there, because I think it'd be a really, really, really interesting day to have.
Indeed. It was peak Cantona, I think someone quoted on Twitter. It was just like, absolute, what the hell are you talking about? With the poem. I think, I think you're right, Mel. I think it was the nearest we'll get to an apology or an admission of wrongdoing. And if it was a minor thing, I think because it's got a greater social kind of impact, using that male aggression, I think she, it demanded more of her, and she came up short. She really did come up short, and it was quite, I don't know. You just need to own it sometimes, don't you? We've all been there where we've made a fool of ourselves, and you just got to. But you thought better off if you just come up and say, "Listen, I was wrong. That was my bad." I spoke out of turn, and I'd have forgiven her, because she just lost, and and she's not used to it. Fair play to her. She's a brilliant coach, not used to it, and she kind of. If she'd have come back and said, "Look, listen, I was out of order. I was in the heat of the moment," I would have said, "Yeah, fair play." You just kind of went there. So, I think, like you say, I think the analogy that she used with her son was the nearest we'll ever get to her admitting that it was a mistake or she to do that. That's all we can say on the matter, but it's disappointing, isn't it? It is.
Yeah, it was. I mean, even I was trying to just sort of Google it and just sort of see about the comments and try and find the video. But when the Telegraph are calling her Emma Hayes as a Mike Bassett moment, something's gone wrong somewhere. I think just through this week and sort of through Jonas's press conference. I mean, personally, again, I think Jonas has handled himself really well with it. I think he's come out of it not perfectly, but I think he's come out of it well, that he's sort of dignified himself. He's sort of thought about what he's going to say and how his actions have been interpreted. I think he's given it a lot of thought with his response, and he's handled it really well. I know he's obviously Sunday's got a touchline ban, which is a bit of a culmination of a few things. But what about you, Mel? How do you sort of think Jonas has come out of this so far?
I feel like he's handled it in the best way he could, in the way that he's been painted as a person. I think, obviously, we have said before that for Emma Hayes to call it male aggression was a bit out of hand. But yeah, he's definitely taken his time. He's thought about what he can say. I feel like he sort of apologised as well for whatever he's done, how it was taken. But there's only so much he can do. People are always going to have an opinion of him, and I think Chelsea fans will use any and every excuse to sort of go against him. But I can't see any wrongdoing that he's done, and he's handled himself in a great light since then.
Yeah, I think it's the thing. I mean, again, when you sort of go back to, your Alex Ferguson's and your Arsene Wenger sort of spats. I mean, again, you sort of had both of them. Neither of them would admit they were in the wrong, but they were, especially Arsene, was really good at handling what he did and the way he sort of, I think a lot of things with Arsene, he didn't really mind. Probably same with Ferguson. They didn't really care that much about what the press thought of them. Mm-hmm. But obviously that's 15, 20 years ago, and time has moved on. And I do think Emma could have just, like you guys said, she could have just said, look, I was in the wrong, heat of the moment. We've lost. I don't like losing. I shouldn't have done that. That's sort of move on. But I think it is one thing that between Jonas and Emma Hayes at the moment, that their rivalry is really peaking, and for me, it's a bit of a shame that it's going to end.
Yeah, it was box office, wasn't it? It was proper box office, and I think and I think it was more about Emma than I think Jonas was a good kind of foil. He was a good kind of opposition, but I think Emma was the one, with who just, she's very charismatic. Some of her, out of most managers, opposition press conferences are pretty dull, but she's always got one or two things to say, and I think she's very, she's got. She's very, very verbose, and it is exciting. So yeah, she'll be missed in that way. I mean, I'm absolute good riddance to her, and that's a compliment because she's been an absolute pain in our backside. And without her, I wonder how many trophies we would have had at the Arsenal. So it is a compliment when I say good riddance to her. It's and I don't know much about the new coach though either. I think they've had I think, is that been formally announced about? And I can't remember.
No, that's what I was gonna ask about. This is the Leon coach, isn't it? Who's reportedly going to take over. Do you know anything about her, Mel? Do you know?
Not really. No, obviously she's got a bit of a background of winning, which is never a good thing to take into a team like Chelsea. But I'm just going to Google her real quick because I'll be honest. If you put me in the room with her, I wouldn't even be able to tell you who she was. I feel like she's been at Lyon for a while though. Let's have a look here.
Yeah, she's definitely a winner. There's no doubt about that. So if you're at Lyon, that's what they're built for, isn't it? It's after win.
Well, here's a horrendous fact. She is the first person to win the Champions League as both a player and a manager. So we don't want that continuing. Apparently, she's only been at Lyon as like the first team manager since 2021. I feel like in that short space of time, I want to say she's won quite a bit, which is
she's used to losing 5-1 to Arsenal then.
Yep. Which means that she's going to come at us with vengeance, unfortunately. Where are we? She has coached 110 games from 2021 to present, won 94, drawn 10, and only lost 6.
That is the French league, though, to be fair.
True. 85.45% win percentage for all the statistics out there.
I suppose what's interesting is what style she'll bring. I'm hoping she wants to kind of completely, change their whole style, and so they have to have an 18 months transition period. But I would imagine the way modern clubs are ran, they kind of have a style of play that they want, and they get the manager to suit that rather than sort of going from I think one of the things that Jonas had to do was, his style was very different to Joe's, and probably necessarily so. But I would imagine that Chelsea, if they've got anything about them, they would have had that conversation with her about sort of, having a similar style to Hayes.
I expect probably Emma Hayes had some input if she was sort of saying, who do you think would be a suitable replacement? She'd obviously know her from playing Lyon and from Europe and that. So yeah, she might have had a bit of an input to sort of say, she'd be a good person. I mean, sort of with WSL managers, it seems like the WSL program. We have to get back to Arsenal in a minute. The fantastic news as well that Mark Skinner's been offered a new contract for Manchester United. What's your?
Yep.
Have you not heard this, Andrew?
Fools! Brilliant news.
Yeah. He's been offered a new contract.
All the Skinner in posters at the Emirates really sealed the deal for them.
Hey, words, gosh!
It baffles me how he manages to cling on, because he's not done great at United. He was atrocious when he was at the Orlando Pride before he came back over here. I feel like clubs take him on. He does okay, then it's a bit subpar, and he just continues at subpar for a couple seasons, and then he decides that he's leaving before they have a chance to show him the door.
I mean, he's got to think the weekend though. I mean, I know it's a big if, but if they did potentially beat Chelsea, you think if they were playing Leicester or Spurs in the final, there's a chance they could, dare say it, win the FA Cup. So I mean, if they won the FA Cup, finished 4th, doesn't sort of say. I mean, that's a good season for United, really, isn't it? They're going to be more than happy with that.
I feel like they hit the ground running when they had Casey Stoney. That I think that no matter sort of who they took in after her was going to be a big ask, because again, she was a charismatic coach and she'd always come out with good one-liners and press conferences and stuff, and she had the pool by the look of it to get in big name players and get them to sign contracts, and made a lot of big changes at the club. So I think, as much as I dislike Mark Skinner, common theme, I feel that he did have very big boots and a water cooler to sit on to fill when Casey Stoney left, but not our problem.
No, we've got a manager that we're now, has won 2 trophies now, so we're happy with that. Ready for the title push for next season.
2 cups, best fan trophy, and best dressed manager in the league. There's not much else he can win this year.
No, definitely best dressed, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, obviously, so we've got a bit of a WSL program. Back to Arsenal. One good bit of news as well that was coming out of the press conference was about Frida, saying that, I mean, Jonas was saying she could well be back for the Leicester game, which is, I was not expecting that at all. I thought we might not see her at all for the rest of the season. So it's the fact that she's obviously, she's had the best possible medical attention, and that they've checked on her, and that they think she can be back in training and hopefully be back for the Leicester game. I mean, if she does come on for that game, the reception she will get would just be absolutely fantastic, isn't it? It's sort of, be good to have Frida back. But something else to say that I did pick up from the press conference today, which was, again, a bit of a surprise to me, something I didn't see, that Stina's contract runs out in the summer. And Jonas was saying that they've offered her a new terms, a new sort of deal. I mean, if you're Stina, Mel, because you're the Stina out the 3 of us, do you sign that new contract with Arsenal, or do you feel there's possibly other opportunities where you might be first choice going?
I saw an interview, a clip, like an excerpt of an interview that she did with some Swedish outlet. Were saying that basically there is other options there for her, but I've always said that I think if she leaves the WSL, I can't see her staying in a bigger league. I would just see her going back to Sweden, unfortunately, which I feel like is not to say that the Swedish leagues aren't great, but I feel like it's not the caliber of player that she is at the minute. I feel like she's still got to come into her prime, and she's very much proven that coming off the bench, she can make a big impact. And if it was me, I would happily stay where I am, because obviously Viv is still out, going to be out for who knows how long now that she's had this second surgery or third surgery, I think it is, that she's had on this knee now. Lena Hurtig's obviously dropped off the face of the earth, and then you've just got Russo, Mead, and Ford, really. So you're always sort of not guaranteed minutes, but it's the way that the team's set up just now. I think she's very sort of just there or thereabout to get as many minutes as possible. So if I was her, I wouldn't be going anywhere just yet. Maybe a 1-year extension and see what goes after that. Because I think Viv's is up in the summer as well, I believe. She only triggered her 1-year extension last year because of the injury. But again, with her still being out injured, I can't see her going anywhere either. If she's getting the sort of Cade and stuff she's getting where she is. But yeah, no, if I'm Stina, I'm staying, and I'm not just saying that because I'm planning on getting her name on the back of my top at the Emirates next weekend. So if Jonas is watching this, like we said a couple of times, I need him to get some more terms and conditions on that bit of paper and get her to sign it, because I'm not doing this again but I get a shirt printed and then the player leaves.
What about you, Andrew? If you've got that contract in front of you, are you signing it? I mean, do you feel, I mean, obviously Stina feels that if there was an option, say, for Lyon, Barcelona, that she would feel she could test herself, she could go over there and play? I mean, did you sign an Arsenal contract that's sat in front of you? I know it's easy for us as fans to say, of course we would sign it, but if we're thinking with your Stina hat on.
Yeah, I mean, there's many places that she can go and start. Yeah, she would start, if as a lot of most of the WSL she starts. Obviously, not Chelsea, probably not Man United and or Man City, but she's a starter elsewhere. I think I think Rel's right. She's guaranteed minutes. I think Jonas's kind of blueprint is to, I think it's basically for his front three to always be subbed. Because he makes. I mean, she works hard. I think she does work hard with them when she's pressing. So she's gonna. It's very rare that she's going to be the sub and thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get on. There's almost that front three when they're when we have got a three subs on the bench that can replace. That's a guaranteed rotation. And I suppose like you say, Barcelona or Lyon, the leagues aren't as competitive, so you get guaranteed a trophy. I think she's very, very popular at the club, and she's comfortable at the club, and I think that's probably one of the. I think that's one of the things that I think she's comfortable there. She's got in that sense. So it's hard to not, not to see it through your Arsenal lens, and I would just. If there was one thing you could guarantee in this off season, it would be for me to have Stina re-sign. I think she's had the best season, and something's gone right for her this season, no matter what. And appreciate from her. She's not got the same minutes. Basically she played pretty much every. Did she play every game last year? She was the only one who I don't know what she'll do, but I really hope she signs. I think she's a massive part of the team. But clearly, is it 15 goals this season? And she can be that flat track bully and getting that hat trick against Aston Villa. But she's scored in some big games.
Mm-hmm.
She's got all of that. She doesn't shy away. So
she scored a win in the Conti Cup final. Was that? I remember.
Can't remember. When was that?
I'm sure she did.
Maybe.
Again,
Queen of the Conti Cup that she is.
So many Conti Cup finals that she's scored in. It's hard to remember.
You lose track. Yeah, I know. So you do lose track with it. It's for me, I think it's. I suppose maybe she sees how these. What we got 8 games left now for the rest of the season, so she sees her position for the rest of the season now. That if she's in and out with Russo, maybe she thinks. I should maybe start looking if like we've been saying for weeks on end that maybe with obviously Frida not quite ready, that Russo and Stina do play together for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they do link up really well. I think that there's definitely a good understanding there between them. If it's something that hopefully we could pursue and push for the rest of the season, that she thinks, I can see next season, back in the Champions League, hopefully pushing for the WSL. There's no better place to be.
For sure. Mind you, I thought her and Frida combined brilliantly. I thought that was funny enough, that was probably Frida's best game this year as well. In the Conti, and them both of them. And you imagine, I thought the whole system we played kind of was brilliant, but those two combined really, really well up front. So
they were carrying the attack last season, really, weren't they? The pair of them. You obviously see they're good friends on and off the pitch, and they've got a good understanding, and it's a good option to have Frida and to obviously have Alessia to bring on as well. So it's good options for. I mean, how old Stina? 25, 26 now, is she? Or? Mel's googling it.
Mel's straight back into
Google. But that's another good point. That's one of the good reason for her to stay is, if that relationship she's got with Frida, those are the kind of things that would be important to me as a player. If it's not just the sort of like the playing stuff, it's about sort of the off-field stuff as well, being settled and But how old have we got?
Only just turned 28.
Oh, 28. Okay.
Yeah. So again, I would argue that she's not. I would argue that she's not in her prime yet.
No.
The kind of player that she is. So obviously she's physical, but with her being sort of tall, strong aerial threat, I would argue that she's still maybe a year, season, 2 seasons away from fully hitting her prime.
Yeah, I think she could even be a thing that say if she had, hopefully had another 2 years at Arsenal and she got to 30 and think, maybe it's time to have a Lyon or a Barcelona, that sort of thing. She could still then the options there that she could still go and play for one of them teams. If
or
she
even
decided.
another big money NWSL move with the way that that league.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's
I feel like she would run absolutely riot in that league with the way that they play. It's very much pump the ball over the top and get your striker to run onto it. So yeah, I could see Stina absolutely running riot in that league.
100%.
Yeah, but we're all in agreement that we wanted to sign, and hopefully the sooner she signs a new contract, the better. I think we sort of mentioned a little bit about Viv, that we still, Jonas is again sort of saying that she's maybe a couple of weeks away from being available or having as a bit of an option. Obviously Sunday night or Sunday evening, we've got Bristol City. We'll start with Mel. What do you think the team will be for that? What do you think Jonas will go with?
It's a hard one because obviously coming back off an international break, it's sort of who's fit and ready to come back in. Obviously, we don't have any news on Kadina, so if she's fit, I would like to see her start. I feel like she made a massive difference when she came in at halftime. Yeah, halftime with the Conti Cup final.
Yeah, halftime.
Was then the case of, do you stick with Lotta, who's been an absolute machine this season, or with Leah fresh off the back in 90 minutes, do you then chuck her in again? But seen from that training pics earlier, she's still carrying that left knee injury that we don't really know what it is yet. So that's the main bit where I wouldn't be able to call who's there. I'd go, aside from that, your usual lot. I think I'd probably go Katie McCabe at left back over Steph Catley, just for the amount of travel that she's done of recent. Right back. Why am I blanking on who we have at right back?
That American
Emily or Lara.
I would love to see Veen Reuter come in. Absolutely love it. I've missed her. I feel like she was just coming into her own when she did her ACL against Wolfsburg. I was gutted to see her go down. Do you start with Veen, sort of chuck her in for 45, then put Fox on? Again, coming off the back of a lot of 90-minute games. I think
you could do it either way, couldn't you? You could play either of them for 45 minutes, really, couldn't you?
Yeah, it's just all who's got the fresher legs, I would say. Midfield, obviously, you're gonna go with Kim time and time again. You obviously don't have to worry about her in the international break anymore. Thanks for that, Pedro. It's a tough one. I feel like this would be prime game to either get Kyra Cooney-Cross in the starting lineup, give Palova a rest, obviously, because she was away on international duty. Because I don't actually think Kyra played many minutes at the Australian camp. And I would argue have Russo sitting in front of the two of them. Get Stina in up top, and then possibly Lacasse on the left. I feel like she, again, big player when she came on in the Conti Cup. I feel like she really tested Chelsea on that side. And then Beth Mead seems to get minutes and starts no matter what she does. I feel like that poor girl can't get a break. So yeah, again, just the three of them. I'd love to see Russo and Stina play together. And for wingers, I think again it's just who's got the fresher legs out of the three of them. Because again, Lacasse played 120 minutes in that She Believes Cup final. Caitlin played a lot of minutes for Australia, and then I feel like Beth played in most of the England games as well. So yeah, it's a tough one because Bristol are quite a pacey team. They're quite a physical team. I think we saw that when we played them the first time this season. I think they surprised a lot of people. Quick players, quite happy to track back and defend, quite physical as well. So it's very much sort of, if I was Jonas, it'd be who's the fittest and who can we get the most out of for the weekend.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that team by and large. What about yourself, Andrew? Go with that?
Yeah, similar to Mel, really. I suppose, and look at maybe over the next few games, more of Kadina get her the minutes, get her embedded in. I thought I agree. She was immense in that second half. And that coming in that game, that takes some courage and some poise. Definitely get Kyra some minutes as well. Because we're on this kind of third place island, aren't we? We're not going to catch anybody. Then no one can catch us. But I think the other one I would like to throw in there is Vivian Leah on the left wing. I know she's left or right wing, but from you say what's happened to Lena, everybody's talking about she's gone, and even I think Tim. I don't think I've seen any announcements, but I think in Tim Stillman's columns, it's just like we need a winger next year. So I guess she's gone. Which is a shame. And I think we said before, we just know she's going to score 100 goals next year for whoever she plays for, and probably score. No, not even going to say it. But, I was going to say knock us out of the Champions League or something. But I'd like to see Viv Leah, because we don't know. There's a part of me that says it wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to go out and get another player to integrate in. If she's part of the squad. And I suppose the other one just kind of, I think Taya Goldie's had didn't she get 20 minutes or half an hour in an under 23s game or something?
Yeah.
I've never seen her play, actually. I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever seen Taya play. So I don't even know how you pronounce it. I've only ever heard her name, read her name. It is. So
I'm trying to think of the other. I can't think of her name now. It's gone blank. The girl was on loan at Watford.
Michelle Aguimank.
No, she's defender. Big tall. She's ginger hair girl. She's really. I can't think of her name now. Katie Reid.
Yes,
Katie Reid. There we go. Did come to.
She's tall as well. She
is very tall. Yeah. She's. I mean, be good to. It would. I'd sort of say it'd be good to see some of the younger. I mean, we're sort of maybe taking Bristol City for granted that we're going to put a few goals past them. But it would be good to give some of the younger players. I mean, especially against Man City away, we might as well just play all the youth team for that game.
I suppose. Absolutely. If we started then Bristol City probably would fancy it. But I suppose over the period of these few games, or even kind of this substituting, making sure we've got enough kind of experience on the pitch to kind of help them. These are the ones I want to see over the next few weeks, just to see. Kadina is. I think she's the real deal, and and I get the sense there's a bit of a personality about her as well, and you can see her kind of getting on well with the North Bank as well. I think that she's got a bit of you can see the kind of the cult hero coming out of her. But I think it is. It's kind of that weird kind of pre-season, end of season scenario. Jonas has got to kind of get sort of, kind of balance out the results, because I think it'd be great to win out. I think that was one of the things, and love to get a result at Man City. But, and I suppose the other thing is making sure we start winning these games that we struggled with. You don't want another kind of West Ham, Tottenham or Liverpool where you lose to a team that you really, really, really shouldn't do. So, like I say, whilst we're on that third place island, he's still got a pretty tough job to do. But at least he can, he can manage the minutes of certain players as well.
I think it's a bit of that old football cliche really at the moment, that it is from now, with obviously the Conti Cup's out the way, we're now from, I would say, this Bristol City game, we are now building for next season, because it's getting all the partnerships down. Say, okay, so here's your right back, here's your left back, here's your centre back partnership. Let's see some of the younger players. Let's see, it's trying out a few things. Obviously, we need the results. That's, we don't want to sort of be 5 or 6 games and we're not winning, or we're losing games and the season just sort of goes off as a bit flat. We want to, have some good performances and really, put some goals past teams, show people that Arsenal know what they're doing, ready for next season. We want the season to start again in September, because we're all guns blazing, ready to go, and we've got the team, we've got the squad ready to go.
100%. But that's why he's paid the big bucks.
He's paid the big bucks, so he's got the good suit. So yeah, it's got to be. Again, another thing from Jonas's press conference, he was a lot of praise for Codina and Zinsberger and for Lotta, saying about how he feels since he's been there, how much he's grown as a defender. I mean, again, for me, I think in Jonas's time that he's been there, I think she's probably been our best defender. No, that's maybe a bit of a big statement. We've had Rafa and Leah as well, but I think consistently, we looked sort of last season, we've had a lot of injuries, even the season before when she was playing. I think she's definitely grown in confidence and come along a long way. But sort of my question to you is, I mean, if from where we are 3/4 of the way through the season, I mean, who are your player or your sort of players of the season so far?
It's a tough one because there's been a lot of them that have played really well, but Lotta's up there. Definitely, I could probably pull you out of top 3, but I'd argue that Lotta's at the top, and I don't really see anybody shifting her from there in my eyes. Like you said, she really came into her own. I think she's the kind of player that needs consistent minutes, and she needs consistent game time to sort of come into herself and get her confidence up, which I think the last season and a half is what we've seen from her. I feel like Leah Volti was also a very, very solid part of our centre midfield before she was injured. And I feel that we've not, I wouldn't say we've struggled, but you can see the gap in the centre midfield now that we don't have her, sadly, and probably won't have her for the start of the next season either. And after that, it's there's a lot of players tied that would get into my top 3, I think. Kim's always an easy shout because she just gets her head down, does what she does, and that's not my Scottish bias and my Mintlaw local sneaking through there. But again, she's just another player that just sort of ticks on and does what's asked of her and then shows up in big games when she's needed. But yeah, I don't know. Katie McCabe would sneak in there as well. I'd argue that it's probably not her best season that she's had by far, but when she has to step up, she steps up. And then Manu as well. People love to slag her off, but when it comes down to the big moments like that save that she made in the 85th minute in the Conti Cup final, it's But no, I'd say Lotta definitely in at number 1, Wally in at number 2, and then for Daisy just put in the comments that she would say either Lotta or Palova, and I completely forgot about Palova. So yeah, I would put Palova in as my number 3 because that is another person who's made a solid stamp on the team this season, I think.
About you, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think Lotta and as Daisy says and Mel says, I think Palova, and their story is that they were backups, and now, this time next year, at opening game, I'm expecting them to be starters, and I would never have thought that of Lotta, to be fair. I've been genuinely impressed, and Palova has come in and just kind of made that. She's definitely a starter now. Almost on 50 games. I think she's on 48 games now. That feels like that's that feels like that's come by. My other kind of outsider is Stina, and I think for Stina it's the story as well. The fact that after last year where she was this kind of absolute workhorse, ran herself into the ground, but then this year kind of with Russo coming in with all the fanfare and Stina kind of sidelined, but then she's just as the song goes, she scores the goals, Stina, and I think. And as you mentioned earlier, she's missed that sitter but I think the thing that's kind of gets overlooked about Stina is the amount of time she gets into those positions. It's not by chance. Her ability to find space or even just get a shot off when she's had. When you look at that Chelsea goal, the way she get in the Conti Cup, the minimal backlift, and she's just she's. That's the thing. It's the amount of times that she can find that space. So I think she's my kind of outside one, but yeah, it probably is enough to just.
I'd agree. But I think we forgot about Stina. For me, I'm going to say a couple of the new signings. I think maybe I don't know what the expectations were, maybe goal wise, but I do think you can see that Russo is a class player. That she's got, she's an upgrade on. I'm gonna say it sounds a bit rude. She's an upgrade on Stina, but you can see she's got her all-round game. Even when she plays for England, she was not getting a lot of service, but she scored a goal. She's trying to make things happen. She does work so hard, and it's just that thing we keep saying about her and Stina together. I mean, there can't be a defence in Europe that would want to go up against those two for 90 minutes. I mean, it's just they just need to play together. And I think Russo's been really, in the big games, the Chelsea game at the Emirates, obviously she was really good. But another one for me, I know it's a January signing, but I think we're having this conversation this time next year. We would say Emily Fox. I know she's probably only had 5-10 games, but I did say to my wife when we was watching the England game the other day that I thought, I was watching Lucy Bronze, and I said to her, I think Emily Fox is the best right back in the world at the moment. And she was a bit like, well, no, but Lucy Bronze. I go, well, we do Lucy Bronze, but the amount of time she gets caught out of position or she's too far up the pitch, and Emily Fox is far up the pitch, but she gets back to recover. I don't think it's the same. The England goals they conceded against the Sweden one, Emily Fox wouldn't have been caught out like that. And it's like she has been in the team for 100, 200 games. She's just been such a natural fit in that side. So sort of fair play to the scouts for finding her, because as I say, this time next year we'll be saying potential player of the season again. She stays fit for Emily Fox. So what would I say with the new signings? I obviously haven't sort of mentioned Chloe, but out of the new the signings, who do you think has been the best, Mel?
Emily Fox by far. I think, like you said, she's slotted straight into the team like she's been here for years. She goes 110%, 100% of the time, and I don't really think that we knew what we were missing in a right back. I feel like we were sort of coasting along with Veen Reuter and Moritz whilst we had her, and even Katie going out there when required. But I think with Emily Fox coming in, it's really, really shown that we didn't have that quality out there that we've got now, and let's give her a lifetime contract, because that there's nothing that girl can't do. And I saw on Twitter not long, a couple of days ago, I think it was, that she's actually had 2 ACL surgeries. She's done her ACL twice.
Wow.
She's only been pro for a year, 2 years, I believe. She's only had 1 or 2 seasons in the NWSL, and then came to us. And just to have only been playing, don't get me wrong, I know that UNC and sort of all the colleges and that out there play, like the bigger colleges play at a high level, but to have only been an official pro for a handful of years and be the player she is, we can't let her go anytime soon. She's only going to get better, because she's still young. Genuinely
shocked. She's so classy. She looks like she's got absolute years in her tank, and she just totally unfazed by any situation. And the job she did on LJ, we can't underestimate that. I was amazed that they put LJ out there, but Emily Fox's recovery speed is amazing. And at the Conti Cup, in the 120th minute, she looked like she just started. She was just so fresh, and she looked like she could go, go and do an away leg later as well. So, I think you're right, Dan. I think you're right. I think this time next year, she is kind of our player of the season. I could see that, and and that. But just to say like Chloe's, Chloe Lacasse is coming, and her speed and her dribbling ability have been absolutely outstanding. That's not, but it is just, Emily is that good. I suppose the caveat is it literally is. She's not even had 10 games with us yet, I don't think.
Yeah. No, I don't think she has she? And yet we're saying about, as a sort of idea for player of the season, or world-class player, which undoubtedly she is. But for just on that few games, is incredible, really.
Yeah. And you imagine when she starts to build up those relationships a little bit more. It's interesting with the relationships. It's just looking at the other side when you go with when it's always Steph and Steph Catley and Caitlin Ford are put on together. Because you can, and because they worked so well, and then Frida and Stina came on together because and you can see. I wonder if Jonas is actually kind of looking at that and that thinking as not just as a tactical element, but the relationship part of it. And obviously Steph and Caitlin kind of combined for providing that goal for Stina as well in the end as well.
I know. Sort of caught a little bit of the show because I was away last week, but he was talking about Beth's current form. Do either of you, or so to Mel first, do you think that maybe Beth has sort of sacrificed a bit of her game to help Emily adjust? Like she's sort of been a little bit more, maybe not quite as attacking, that she's maybe trying to fill in a little bit more for Emily. I mean, did you feel that a little bit with Beth?
Potentially, yeah. I feel that Emily's definitely a lot more attacking minded as a right back, and quite happy to go on an overlap run or even cut up through the middle of the park compared to what we've had before. So yeah, I feel like we're not seeing Beth attacking as much because she's quite happy to lay the ball off to Fox and let Fox do the overlap run to then ping it into the box and Beth to be another option in there. But I don't know, I feel like she's not back to 100% in my eyes yet after the ACL. And I think once she is back, I think maybe start of next season, having that off-season break and her being able to turn around and be like, right, I had a season under my belt since I've done my ACL, back bigger and stronger for the next one. I think that we could possibly get back the Beth that we've seen before. But I feel like her and Emily could be a really good pairing together with how they play as well. Obviously, like I said, with Emily being very attacking minded, it gives us that opportunity to have her out on the wing to play in those crosses and to have Beth either in the mix in the 6-yard box or lingering on the outside waiting for that sweet strike from outside the box that we've not seen from her often, but when she does it well. So yes and no. I feel like Beth had to change her game a wee bit, but I don't think it's impacted her massively.
But you, Andrew, feel the same, or do?
Yeah, 100%. I think with Beth, I think the first 2 or 3 games, her personality and energy kind of got her through. But her body's just not been able to keep up, and I think you saw her, like I say, towards the end of the Conti. There was just one, almost like she just ran out of petrol. The energy levels just dropped massively. So yeah, a good preseason behind her, and she'll be back to the old Beth again. But yeah, great point. I mean, Noel Marritt's compared to Emily Fox. That's a massive Beth not on an island anymore. She's got that support. She's got that support, so she doesn't have to do the same amount of work. So yeah, I bet it has changed the game as well.
Yeah. No, and again, it's like we were saying a little bit earlier. It's about building in relationships in these next games, isn't it, for the rest of the season? So if Emily and Beth can get a better understanding, work out a little bit more ready for next season, then sets us up, puts us in a good place for next season. I know George would be annoyed on his VIP jet that if I didn't ask you guys for first goal scorer and a score prediction for Sunday. So over to Andrew first.
The score prediction. They're good going forward, aren't they, Bristol? I'll give them that. But I can't. I'm going to go with a 3-1. First goal scorer. Vivian Leah.
Wow. Okay. Mel, what about you?
I'm going to be a little bit optimistic and say that we're going to keep a clean sheet. I said this last time and we got run over. But looking at Bristol's team, I don't see a lot of massively attacking threats. I know they've got Abby Harrison, but I don't believe she was in the Scotland camp for this last international break. So I don't know if she's out injured or not. They've got Jamie Lee Napier, who again was in the Scotland camp but didn't get any minutes. But I feel like she's being pushed further back into defence. So that's the only two sort of attacking players they have that I know of. Obviously, you scored a header against us when we played them last time.
Yes. Yeah,
which was more shamrock defending than good attacking in my eyes. So I'm going to go 4-0 and feeling optimistic. I feel like after that Conti Cup that we've got goals in us, and I'm going to go Russo first goal with a header, specifically with a header.
Oh, okay.
We're up to 201 now with viewers for the show, so thank you for everybody for joining us tonight. I was going to go 4-0, but I'm going to have to go 5-0 now. And of course, Lotta to score the first goal. As we were at Meadow Park, so we can get on the pitch easier. So definitely, it's got to be that. But thank you, Mel. Thank you to Andrew for joining us. I'm going to go and get a nice little glass of whiskey, a cigar, and listen to some of the finest of Emma Hayes' poetry for the rest of the evening with my dressing gown and wax slippers, because I want a cultural Friday evening. I think it's needed, ready for Sunday. So thank you guys very much, and thank you for everybody for joining us for tonight. And we will catch you on the next show next Friday.
Take care, everyone.